Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, what do we know about International Criminal Court, that is ICC? ICC has been created for having a jurisdiction over the international crimes such as war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and so on. So in that case, Mr. Speaker, from our side we do oppose the motion that ICC should prosecute crimes against the earth. So, Mr. Speaker, today we'll be talking about two important clashes, two important points that actually stands. That is why ICC is not the proper institution for such responsibility, and second of all, will there actually be any sort of deterrence after the prosecution by ICC? Before that, we'll be moving on to some rebuttals coming up. As you can see, the Prime Minister, there has been a contradiction where the Prime Minister talks about prosecuting the country, whereas the government talks about prosecuting the individuals. The Prime Minister, while prosecuting the country, stated examples like China about their overfishings and so on, whereas the government stated an example about a Spanish company who to be blamed for the oil spill at the Sundarbans. As a result, the company itself, the individual should be responsible, should be accountable for any sort of action to be taken against. And whereas the Prime Minister stated about taking the responsibility all over the government itself. On the other hand, the government side has been forgetting that ICC won't be able to prosecute crimes all over the world, since the countries which have not signed the Rome Statute Treaty doesn't come under the jurisdiction of ICC. As a result, ICC won't be able to reach those countries for taking responsibilities and for prosecuting against the crimes. For example, USA doesn't come under the jurisdiction of ICC. So moving on to the clash points, as we have mentioned about why ICC isn't the proper institution for such responsibility, and two, will there actually be any sort of deterrence after the prosecution by ICC? Why ICC is not the proper institution for this responsibility? Number one, it can't compare. Number one, we can't compare earth crime with any other sort of international crime. Number two, damage by earth crime and war crimes aren't the same. And three, earth crime is reversible, unlike war crime. So as we can see that the earth crime can't be compared with any other international crime. For example, deforestation. Deforestation is taking place due to the lack of living spaces. As a result, people are cutting off these trees for making more spaces for their living, or else they had to stay in adverse or dangerous environment in the forest. Here, as we can see, the criminal intent for damaging humans solely isn't there at all. Secondly, as we see in this point, that the damage by earth crime and war crimes aren't the same. For example, loss of few homes can't be compared with loss of 100 human lives, as you can see, Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, as we mentioned about earth crime is reversible, unlike war crime. Just for example, as we can see that deforestation, if taken place, plants can be planted, trees can be planted back, and afforestation can take place. If oil spill is taking place, the responsibility of cleaning the seas can also be done. If people are losing home, we can give or avail and build new homes for them back again. But if genocide is taking place, can we ever bring those lives back? No, not at all. And moving on to the second point, moving on to the second clash that we talked about, which is why there won't be any sort of deterrence created after the prosecution by ICC. Well, under this clash point, we come up with 5 more sub points, which are the past failures of ICC, the media attention failure, the perpetrators' escape, the government and economy controversies, and fifthly, companies going to countries having no jurisdiction. So as you can see, Mr. Speaker, the past failures of ICC, even after 10 years of joining by ICC, there still has been a lot of violence, a lot of problems taking place even after the prosecution. For example, we can talk about the Central African situation, where the genocide and other sort of crime against the humanity is still taking place, but yet no such solution has come out from that yet. Secondly, what we talked about was the media attention. As you can see, that the Chevron oil spill didn't make any difference, even though media attention was given to that when a BP oil spill took place. So as a result, this sort of crime didn't stop yet. Thirdly, we talked about we mentioned about the perpetrators' escape. As you can see, the perpetrators believe that they just can't get caught because they got because they have got a foolproof plan to commit such crime and escape, and as a result, somehow they conduct some brutal activity and be able to escape from that scenario. Fourthly, we talked about the government and economy controversies. As you can see, some of the governments in the ICC, some of the government members in the ICC are found that they are quite dependent on certain companies under the government of that country, which is actually helping the economy of the country itself. As a result, if any of the crime are conducted by such companies, the deterrence rate is quite less, even after the prosecution, because they have to compromise, thinking about the economy of the government of the country itself. And fifthly, we mentioned about the point about companies going to countries having no jurisdiction. As you can see, Mr. Speaker, the certain company like BP might be going for India for oil spill because the ICC jurisdiction doesn't come over India, as India isn't under such jurisdiction. As a result, no such problem, no such prosecution has to be faced by the company itself when they go to countries where the jurisdiction of ICC is absent. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like to conclude by saying that organizations like UNAP and WCO should be given the responsibility of such prosecution rather than just handing it over to ICC. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.